Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a maintenance clean and the Scorpion Evo HPA version. This is a Polarstar jack with black leaf custom parts inside it. So we'll start off by taking off the rear stock and the front handguard. They can go to one side. We don't need to do anything with them. To do this, you're going to need the Polarstar jack O-ring kit, and you're going to need some HPA lubricant. Now this is a new brand, it's Zeus Juice. I know most people would recommend the Tech T Gun Salve, which I would highly recommend as well, but this is a new product from High Pressure Airsoft, and to be honest, it looks pretty good. It's nice, and you know, you could tell it's a decent quality. So like I said, High Pressure Airsoft, and the same for the O-ring kit, High Pressure Airsoft. First of all, we're going to remove all of these bolts. Medium size, these are all four the same, and then we've got two larger ones at the front. So to do that, we need a 3mm Allen key. I'm just going to quickly whip all those out. Okay, so once you've removed all these bolts, I'm just going to flip it over, push the cover plate in a little bit, hold it down, and then use your Allen key through the hole and lift up together both ends like so, and then pinch the spring and pin, which you can see just there, and then just pull off that side like that. Keep that safe. Put both sides to one side. Remove your cover plate. The next step is to undo these two screws here. Once you've undone them, just remove the base plate. And then you've got two, well, they normally have four, but this has got two bolts inside down the pistol grip. Once you've done that, simply lift it up. Put that to one side as well. Now if you look here, there's a pin. We're just going to pop that pin out, put it from one side, and just remove it like that. I've got one more bolt to undo, which is this one. So if you go through the handle there, and just undo that. Like so, flatten your pot, and then just remove the bottom half. Put that to one side. Now we're at this stage, we can remove all of these bolts which are here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only difference is this one is a smaller one compared to all these 5 here. On an AEG you would have to remove the guide, but because this is HPA, it hasn't got one, so don't worry about removing that just yet. So I'm just going to whip all these out, then I'll come back. Once you've removed all of those, just flip it over, and we're going to remove this one, which is the selector plate. So gently undo it like that, lift your box, undo that one screw, let that come off, let the screw come off, and let that drop out the other side. Now turn it back over, and we're going to start prying it apart. Just like that. Now in this, there's the Polarstar FCU, the fire control unit, which is the digital one, and it's also got the black leaf custom trigger board, which is in there, designed for the Evo. We've put a CNC trigger unit, and we've also short stroked that by adding the small mod, which is a sheet of plastic on the top where it touches the contact point there, the micro switch. So I'll just show you, let me just take this wire out here. I'm just going to pull that out nice and gently, we don't want to damage it, and we're going to set that to one side. less parts to be damaged. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the trigger. There's practically no movement, it's just pushing the micro switch. Just better trigger response, that's all it is. Right, so remove your trigger and then pull up this wire here, gently wiggle it out. Mine's in, on the board it's in the P. There's a N, P and a B. I can't tell you what they all are, I really can't, but mine's in the P, so that's where it's going back. So that can go to one side, we don't need any of that. We're going to be working on the engine. So to do this, you obviously need your O-ring kit, you need your Zeus juice or your Tech Gun Salve, whichever you've got. Don't be tempted to use anything else apart from high pressure, you know, parts. It has to be the HPA lubricant. You can't use something like silicone grease. First thing we're going to do is take the front cylinder off. To do that, we're just going to unscrew it like that. Then we're going to remove the nozzle. Then we're going to remove the donut. And then we're going to remove the stem, like so. First we're going to start off with the front cylinder. We're just going to give that a nice good wipe inside, get any grease or anything like that out of it. So get your cloth, give it a good wipe all round, at the front, all on the sides, in the threads. Make sure that's nice and clean. Then we're going to move on to the nozzle. Now we need to remove the O-rings. To do this, you can get away without removing the back O-rings, but I like to remove them anyway. So to do this, it's pinch. I'm trying to zoom this in. Just pinch there, and you're going to need some, I use needle nose pliers. Just going to lift underneath like that, and then just lift it over like so. And it's the same with these top ones. Just pinch them like so and just lift them up and over. Pinch it, let it go into that groove, pinch it again and lift it over. So, last one we've got is this tiny one, which is inside the nozzle, just in there. To do that, get your needle nose pliers, or you can get a small removal like hook device, which is for removing O-rings, and then just simply lift it out nice and gently like that. Put that to one side. Now I can give that a nice thorough clean. To do that, I'm going to use an alcohol swab, get in all the grooves where the O-rings have been. Just remember, these O-rings, they push out under pressure, so dirt can get inside these grooves. Give it a good clean inside there, inside that groove as well. Wipe the nozzle down. And just wipe it over with your dry cloth. Make sure it's a nice clean cloth. Because we're using alcohol wipes, it dries relatively quick. So that's nice and dry. We can start by putting our new kit in. We can go ahead and start reassembling these O-rings now. So put it on the back like that, and slide this one over the top of all of those. That goes on like that. Put this one over the front. Slide that on, and then your most tricky one is this one here. So you're just going to want to pinch it together a bit put it so it's loosely inside the hole, grab your tweezers, put one side in, and then just gently ease it in like that, and it will just go in itself. So that's gone in nice. Now we're going to use the lubricant. To do this, to apply it, I use a small paintbrush like so, and we're just going to get a small bit on our brush and just put it on the O-rings like so, all the way around. Give it a nice coat. Put some on the inside like so. You can wipe the excess off the base of the nozzle, it doesn't need to be on there. And then we're just going to put a bit of lubricant on this one as well. So that's that section done. Now we're moving on to the donut. So remove the O-ring. It's not clipped on or anything like that, it just rests on there as you see in it. Give this a nice good wipe. Again, I'm going to use an alcohol wipe, fresh one. Wipe the inner bore. The rear, where your stem's going to sit. The sides. Just give it a thorough clean. Remember, we're not going to be getting this out every week. They say it's every 30 to 50,000 shots you should be doing your maintenance. Make sure that's all dry. Like that, nice and clean. Have a visual check. Make sure there's nothing on there. And then we can replace our O-ring with the new one. Let's put the old one to one side, we don't need that. And we're just gonna, a few videos that I have seen, they don't put lubricant on this, but I'm going to put a little bit on. It's a rubber at the end of the day, it needs to be a bit moist, shall we say. Don't want to use that word, but it's the one that come into my head. They're not going to dry out. So that's that bit done. Now we're going to move on to the stem. And the stem is probably a tricky one to get the O-rings off. You're going to need your long nose pliers again. Sorry, I'm looking at long nose pliers. Your needle nose pliers, and we're just going to remove that by tucking it under and lifting it off like that. Same with this one. Get your needle nose pliers and pull this one down like that. So once you've taken those off, we're going to use an alcohol wipe again and just give this a nice general clean all the way around like so, getting all those grooves where the O-rings were. Dry it off with your nice clean cloth and we can reinstall the new parts. So the two new O-rings here, the old ones put in this pile over here. Slide it over. Just like that. This is a little bit tricky. And then this one goes over the front. Like that. So that's those back on. Again, I'm going to put a tiny bit of lubricant on these. These are not moving parts, so it's not, they don't have to have excessive lubricant on them. It's the same with the nozzle though, that's the only moving part in the Polarstar engine, the nozzle. But again, you don't need to excessively grease it, because it just causes clogs, it causes problems, and we don't want to do that. Right, now we want to get the front cylinder, and we're going to remove the O-ring which is on here, which is this one. That's dead easy. Pull it off, put it to one side, grab your new one, put a tiny bit of lubricant on it. This is just so when we screw it together it's not going to scrumple up, it's just going to slide on the lubricant. That's the only benefit for putting it here. That's that done. Now I want to get the rear cylinder, and we want to get any dirt, debris, old lubricant, anything like that. We want to get all of that out. So with your clean cloth, just give it a nice good wipe inside. Check for any visual dirt. Once you're happy with that, we can start the reassembly process. In the pack you do get this small screw, which is just, it goes underneath, it's just like a plug. We don't need to replace that. And I'm not going to be taking the solenoid off, I'm not going to be taking the airline off, because I don't need to. There's no air leaking from these, so don't disturb it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So to reinstall everything, it's the stem we're going to put into the donut, and you should hear this click in once you put it in place. So just that little click means it's nice, snug, it's in place. We're going to put that into the rear cylinder, make sure that O-ring is sitting good, and then we're going to put the nozzle in. So the nozzle goes in there like so, and then we can put the front part of the cylinder and screw it all together. Like that. Give that a wipe, get all the excess off. We don't want any, we don't want any of this gunk all over it. And just give that a little nip up. Don't need to be super tight. And we're ready to reinstall it. So to reinstall it, it's just reverse the process. Dead simple. Put your jack engine inside, like so. Make sure it's sitting on that rim. Put your connector in. Like I said in the video, mine was from P, so it's going back in P. Install your FCU. Like so. That's already installed, that goes in the back. Get your other half of the gearbox, which is here. Before you do that, make sure we put a trigger in, That'd be really silly, because it wouldn't work. Okay, so that's in. Next we're going to add the other side of the gearbox. Like so, make sure your line's in, don't trap it. Make sure you pull your trigger up so it sits in. Your wires are in, you're not forcing anything, it's all gone back in. Next you're going to install your screws again. Remember, the only small screw is this one at the front. Once all those are in, flip it over, and we're going to install the selector cog. So push this in through the back, like that. Set this to safe, so just push it all the way forward. Sorry, I'm not in the picture. Set this to safe, push it all the way forward, and then put this on 0. So that's a 0, set at 0. Put your screw in. Like so. Tighten that down. Don't over tighten it. We don't need to over tighten that. So that's that done. Good. Start ready to reassemble everything now. So bring your body in. Make sure this selector switch is on safe. Make sure that's on safe, that's on safe. Put your trigger through the hole. Okay, so once you've slotted your gearbox back into the bottom half, I'm just going to reinstall this small screw that was in here. Again, we'll go through there. Just tighten that up. Don't over tighten it, just nip it. Now we can install the grip. To do that, dead simple, we push the line through. Put it on like that and do the 2 screws that are already in there. Once those 2 are tight, we're going to put the base plate on. Thread it over and put your 2 countersink screws in there. Now we can put the 2 body panels on. Grab your outer barrel, inner barrel, and we're going to install that. Make sure them wires are threaded nicely around your hop unit, whichever hop unit you've got. Like so. And then we're just going to push that pin through to hold that in place. And as you can see, the wires and everything are all seated nicely around that. Now we're going to bring the body panels in and the dust cover. So just slop your dust cover on like that, and then this side is going to go on first. Make sure your selector switch is on safe. Push that in like so. Grab your spring, and the spring is going to go in like that, pin at the back. So push that spring in there. Grab your other body panel, make sure it's on safe again. Now you can install all your screws. 2 bigger ones at the front, small at the top. One medium in the back here, the back right bottom. Once all they're in, we're just going to check the selector switches working, the release is working, trigger's working. You can go ahead, put your front end on, put your rear end, and we are done. Hope it's out, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks again. Bye bye.